Hey there guys, welcome back to AFC Game by Game. This is my review of Arsenal's victory over Sutton United this evening. The final score being 2-0, and first and foremost, massive congratulations to Sutton. Getting to the last 32 of the tournament in itself is such a great achievement for a non-league club, but to put in the spirited, hard-working performance that they did against us tonight, really, really well done on their behalf. I mean, they played a lot better than we did against Bayern Munich in midweek, so congratulations has to go to them. And in the end, they could have nicked a goal in this game. They really did make it a hard job for us at times. And I think in the end, quality has prevailed, but they really can leave this game with their heads held high. A lot of players, I think, are going to have higher tier clubs sniffing around them, so they've certainly set a good precedent for themselves, and I wish them the best for the rest of the season. But regarding Arsenal, I mean, we saw a couple of changes in this. Well, we saw 7 changes, in fact. David Ospina remained in goal, but we saw Gabriel come in at right back, Mustafi and Holding at centre-half. On the left-hand side, Nacho Monreal, who looked a little shaky in this game. But Rob Holding, for me, was the standout player of all our defensive-minded players. I thought he put in a really hard-working performance. And for me, has to be playing that a bit more. I think he's one of the most promising centre-halves in the league. I don't think I'm overreacting in saying that, but every time he's played for us, bar that fluky game against Liverpool at the start of the season, hasn't put a foot wrong. I think that's something worth highlighting, the rise of Rob Holding. For me, he definitely needs to get a few more minutes before this season does draw to a close, but realistically, I don't think he'll get a game until that match against Lincoln. But given that tie against Bayern Munich is so up in the air, that could be a good opportunity for him to get some experience against top-class players, against the likes of Robert Lewandowski, Thomas Muller, so that could be an opportunity there. But heading back to tonight's game, the midfield, we saw Xhaka and El Neni line up there. El Neni seems to have gone off with an injury. Hopefully that won't be anything too serious. He went off at half-time as what I'm hoping is a precaution. And we saw Oxlade-Chamberlain come in. Xhaka picked up a yellow card, had a fairly defiant performance in midfield. I thought he did fairly well. A game that I think this game worked in his favour in many ways. It was physical. He got to really put himself about that bit more. There was an awful challenge that one of the Sutton players, I believe it was, I think it was Reed, I think that was his name, their captain, put in on Alex Iwobi, which in my opinion could have definitely been given as a red card. Xhaka was given a yellow for an offence which in my opinion was nowhere near as bad on Craig Eastman, literally just held him back. I mean, I buy into the idea sort of that we can give lower leagues coming up against Premier League opposition a little bit of leeway, but the foul that was on Alex Iwobi was absolutely horrendous. I mean, to not even get a card for that, I mean, there's being a bit lenient to a side that are definitely inferior to Arsenal, and then it just being downright stupid. For me, that was an obvious decision which should have gone in the book. Wouldn't have been as drastic as to send him off, but a yellow card, poor officiating in my opinion, and it's a shame that there do seem to be double standards at times, especially in the FA Cup. But I won't get into that. That's a totally different debate. Up front, it was very disjointed in my opinion. Alex Iwobi, who I thought, if I'm going to be frank, I thought he had a really dire game. I thought he was really poor tonight. And then through the middle, Jeffrey and Adelaide, who I thought really looked out of place in this game. He really did not look comfortable in this situation. Do you know when you look at a player and you think maybe they're more suited to playing at places like the Emirates? They're not going to work at this level. I mean, I can imagine Ozil playing in this game, and the thought of him, the criticism he'd have got on social media such as Twitter. I mean, I reckon I would have gone into a coma if he'd have played this game, just given the amount of criticism I reckon he'd have got. Just games like this aren't suited to certain players, and I think, as weird as that sounds, I do think that is a very real reality. On that right-hand side, it seems to be Theo Walcott and then Lucas Perez leading the line. I know there was a bit of debate as to who started up top. Was it Walcott? Was it Perez? For me, they seem to interchange quite a bit. But Perez, both of them scored, so I mean, it just shows that did work in a way. But for me, I don't know where Olivier Giroud was. I think in this game you need a focal point, and he just was nowhere in the team. It's good to see Per Mertesacker amongst the team today, at least on the bench. But I mean, let's get on from the team. Like the game itself, I mean, it started off very slowly. We were dominating possession as you would expect, but we didn't really create anything until our first goal through Lucas Perez. A very fluky goal, the type of goal that this game deserved, in fairness. Nothing really much had happened in the game. For a match that was so built up to be spectacular, it was anything but that in the opening 30 minutes. We got that goal. It was a really good effort from Lucas, which I believe was intended to be a cross, but Walcott did well to put off the keeper. Tried to nick his 100th goal there, and then he couldn't get a touch on it. Goes down as Lucas's goal. A muted celebration from Lucas. I sincerely hope that he doesn't want to leave the club. There's a lot of talk coming out that he does want to get out of Arsenal. His agent, on the flip side, has said that that's not true. But for me, I can understand why he'd want to leave, because he's evidently got quality and could get into a lot of top sides in and around Europe. But For me, he just got to play more because Alex Iwobi is 20 years old, Lucas Perez is 28 years old. I know what option I'd rather be seeing in an Arsenal shirt week in, week out at the moment. I know who I want to see playing in that game against Liverpool. Lucas Perez has got nothing to prove, in my opinion. He's done it already. He's got goals, he's got assists. He's been such a heavy contributor to the team whenever he's played. He's just got to play that bit more, and he's got to do it on a regular basis. And I do hope that Arsene Wenger gives him his opportunity. But sadly, I do feel that he's getting the treatment of the likes of Park Ju-young, Lucas Podolski, which is really infuriating, given that there's evident talent there and we're wasting away his prime years. I do hope that situation is addressed ASAP. We didn't have many more chances from that point. I thought we really did come into life that little bit more when Oxlade-Chamberlain entered the field of play. Rory Deacon was doing some good things for Sutton United in that second half. As I say, he hit the bar. They had a few more chances. A really good cross. If someone else gets on the end of that, that's going in the back of the net to make it 1-1. But yeah, I mean, thankfully, Sutton didn't take any of the chances that prevailed for them, and we did make it 2-0 through Theo Walcott. Absolute class play from us. I think this was really evidencing the gap between the two leagues. It was such a good piece of play from Arsenal, vintage Arsenal, you could say. Nacho Monreal whipping the ball into the box after some wonderful build-up play. Theo Walcott getting on the end of it to get his 100th senior goal. Couldn't do it against Bayern Munich or Chelsea, but Sutton away, cracking that from Theo Walcott. But no, in fairness to him, sarcasm aside, it was a good goal from Theo Walcott. Excellent build-up by the team. Professional performance in the end, and we've come out of the game with 2 goals to our name. Not the humiliation that Sutton deserved, to be fair, and I'm happy with a 2-0 win. It means that we progress into the next round of the FA Cup against Lincoln City at home, another non-league side who to be fair, I do want us to put them to the sword if we're playing them at home. I do want us to win that about 5-6-0 if we can, which we should be able to if we play a team similar in strength to the one that played tonight. But I mean, Sutton. I mean, the scoreline reflects the performance that they put in. 2-0 is definitely a good result for them, in my opinion. Despite being a loss, they can leave the game with their heads held high. Ours, on the other hand, I think it really did emulate the type of performances we've been putting in recently. It was lethargic, it was slow, it was lacking in energy at times. You know, you would have liked to seen a bit more heading into that game against Liverpool, a massive game for us against the top 4 rival. I mean, as I've said many a time in recent weeks, win this tournament and get a top 4 finish, hopefully comfortably, and then we can talk about Arsene Wenger's future that little bit more. Banners at the end of the game for me is something that, especially away from home at Sutton, is something that isn't necessarily needed. I know that's a totally different debate entirely. I completely respect everyone's opinion on that. But for me, banners away from home at Sutton United in the FA Cup does not set a good precedent for us. Anyway. I won't get into that. Please do drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to AFC Game by Game, and I'll be speaking to you very, very soon.